welcome to another session of our training. We want to tell you about the stages involved in penetration testing. And the first phase involved is the reconnaissance phase. It's also known as information gathering. So we are going to be using the Harvester tool to gather information about a domain in order to get email addresses and phone numbers from the domain. So for us to proceed with this tool, the Harvester, for us to install the tool, simply do sudo apt install, or you can simply do sudo apt get updates, sudo apt get update, and sudo apt install the Harvester, then -y. So what this simply means is that we want to first of all update our package repository, and then after that is done, it will move on to install the Harvester tool. So, but in my own case, I've already installed the tool, so I don't need to run this command again. All right. I don't need to run this command again. So when you are done running the command, so you can simply type the Harvester, and then to see the subcommand -h. So it will bring you to where we are right now. So here we want to see how we can use the Harvester to gather email addresses and phone numbers from a domain for us to be able to proceed from the reconnaissance phase to scanning phase. So penetration testing majorly has 5 phases. Information gathering, which is known as reconnaissance, scanning, gaining access, maintaining access, and then clearing the tracks. So what we are going to do here is information gathering. Another way you can gather information about a host is that we can also use what we call showdown.io to do that. I'm going to show you here as well. All right, hold on, my Firefox is loading. So let's see how we can gather information from a host or about a host. So I'm going to use the command, the Harvester, right, -d stands for domain. So my domain name in this case is going to be test.php.vulner. This is a vulnerable lab that you can actually use for your pen testing. And then the B simply means the source. So if you look at it here, do you want your source to be Hanobase, Baidu, BVGL, and all that, Bing, Brave, Senses, Showdown, So in this case now I want to use Bing to do this. So I will type in Bing, right? So if I start, it should start gathering whatever from this channel, right? So while that is going on, let's go to our web browser. Let me show you how you can actually perform information gathering as well using a command called, give me a moment. So you can see that it has gone to the target to gather, but in this case it says no IP address found, no email, and no phone number, or no host rather. So let's find out here. Let us use another website to test this. We change it to example.com. Please remember to do this on the domain that you have permission to do that. So example.com. So let's wait for the result. So we go to our Parrot OS. We go to our web browser, we enter showdown.io, hit enter. So let's come back to this one first before we continue with the showdown. So if you take a look, information gathering that we did, you can see the list of email addresses. These are the list of email addresses that we can actually use to send email to these users. And then if you want to try to assuming this is a domain that you have permission on, you can simply go ahead to try to get the password of these email addresses to log in, all right? But for now, you can actually send them email addresses. So there is a site that will guide you. So that site that will guide you to get their respective password is intel.io, intelx.io. So if you come there to intelx.io, you can achieve a lot more by entering this email address that is here into this search box and search. So here, so if you copy any of these email addresses here, let's say for example this, and then you put it, you go to the intel.io to search, you should get a result, right? You should get a result. So assuming this is a valid email, you should get search results from here. So you can see there's a lot of results that are there. It says 12 found 12 website HTML and all that. So this is how to perform open source intelligence, all right, information gathering before you can actually penetrate your target. So please do all these things on the target that you have permission to do. So this is basically for the penetration testers. Use it with caution, all right? We are not liable for anything. So this is solely for educational purposes. So having done this, we've gathered some information. So if you go to, you can also see IP addresses if you look at it. And then there are other tools that we can use aside from the Avesta. We can also use DNS Enum. We can use DNS Recon. We can also use Recon-ng to do all these things as well. So, and then the next one here, I wanted to show you what the showdown can do. So showdown can be used to gather information about vulnerable devices on the internet space. So for example, here now if you type in webcam, you can see a number of webcam that are vulnerable on the internet. So let's see, explode this, and then you will see a lot of webcam that are vulnerable on the internet that you can actually hack into. So, and then the next one, you can also go back, right, and let's see, for example, let's say printers. So their respective IP addresses are there. You can check printers or you check TVs. So these are some of the various means that hackers use to penetrate their targets. So let's take a look at the printers and see how many are vulnerable. So you can see there are a lot of printers on the internet space. And see in the United States we have 2,210. Please, this is solely for educational purposes. So having done this, there are a lot of sites. We also have census.io, census.io. So there are a lot of intelligence sites that we can actually use. All right, so that is it. So this is how to actually perform reconnaissance on your target. And then, of course, there is one that is more superior. Let me just call it, it's more superior. It is called Open Source Intelligence Framework.com. So hit enter. So with this website, you can gather a lot of information about your targets, right? So I'm not gonna go into details about this. So if you want to use a name, you can do this. Go to search engine and all that. We do a whole lot of things here. So I'm not gonna tell you more about this. So if you want to know more about this, so sign up for our cybersecurity class, sign up for any other classes, ethical hacking, digital forensics, incident response, and then we'll be able to do all these things for you. So thank you for watching us, and we'll end the session here right now. So see you in our next session or in our next videos.